Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the D1NZ D1NZ National Drifting Championship. It's the 2014 to 2015 season, 6 rounds across New Zealand for the Southern Hemisphere's Premier Drifting Championship. D1NZ is brought to you this year by the amazing supporting partners, Demon Energy Drinks, Cody's Bourbon and Cola, Gal New Zealand, Pyro Company Fireworks, The Bling Company, Metal Militia and The Rock FM.
Cheers, Brendan. Well, last season was all about the rise of the V8s in D1NZ, and it was Gaz Wider standing on the top step of the podium alongside Shane Van Gisbergen and Mad Mike at Hampton Downs. We then went to the first of the concrete jungle rounds in Whangarei, where Mad Mike continued his championship dominance and again continued the championship dominance in the final battle against Andrew Redwood, but Redwood would be on top. V8 Power taking the top step once again. We then went to the central North Island, Taupo Motorsport Park, and it was Kurt Whitaker giving Gaz Wider a run for his money, but the 2JZ couldn't hold back the V8 Power of the Ticloy S14. We then went to the South Island's only premier drifting event, and it was the epic battle between Shane Van Gisbergen and the Rattler Falcon up against Gaz Wider, who was looking for his 4th championship title, and it would be an all V8 podium to round off the series tour in Christchurch. We then returned to the concrete carnage at Mount Smart Stadium, and Brad Smith had plenty of carnage with the wall, and so too Jody Verholst in the Milwaukee Supra, and the rest of the round, of course, was all about the rising stars, despite all the carnage, of course, and it was the young Darren Kelly, one of the big standouts, scoring his first ever podium finish in the pro class after graduating from the Pro-Am Development Series, and of course Dainham Templeman, absolutely amazing lap on board the NAC RX-7, knocking out Gaz Wider here, but he scored the highest qualifying score ever in D1NZ history at Mount Smart, and then of course went on to take the round. But of course Darren Kelly, again, that young rising star, doing everything he could to knock out some of these big names in the final round of the series, and of course really shook up the championship as the final battle unfolded between Dainham and Darren Kelly. But of course Dainham was the victor in the end as the lights came down and the crowd were on their feet for the final. Darren Kelly taking his first Pro Championship podium amongst some fantastic names, Gaz Wider and of course Dainham Templeman, and it was Gaz in the end who took the points lead from Mad Mike Whitted. It was a valiant effort from the two, but it was V8 Power on top and Gaz Wider's 4th D1NZ DK title.
Well, Kenny, that's where we were, and this year we have an amazing lineup of events: Manfield, Mount Smart, Bay Park, Hampton Downs, Christchurch, and then the grand final. It's all coming to you here on D1NZ TV as we see some of the familiar faces and new faces from round 1, Manfeild Raceway in the Manawatu. It's the Premier Drifting Series of New Zealand, D1NZ.
Yes, we'll practice at round 1 at Manfield threw up all sorts of changing conditions. It was raining, we had gale force winds, and the drivers had to contend with new cars, new setups, and a track most haven't driven for a very long time. And once the wind and rain cleared off, a drying line came out, and so too did the pro drivers, finding their limitations. Let's get into it.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very cold D1NZ National Drifting Championship from mighty Manfeild Raceway in the Manawatu. My name's Brendan White and this is Kenny Ruddle. We're your co-hosts for the 2014 to 2015 season. Kenny, you've come on, and last year, what an event. Gaz Wider, 4-time DK, quickly.
Yeah, that was awesome. He's a series legend. He's a living legend. And, well, he's here today in a borrowed car, so that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. We haven't been here in 2 years, so, new cars, new setups, new drivers. It's going to be all on.
Definitely. We've also got Darren Kelly in a borrowed car, and we've got Fanga Dan in a borrowed car as well. So it's going to be an interesting run, and we're going to run straight now into qualifying and check out the top 5. Stay tuned. So for those new to drifting, we're about to check out the track rundown, what the judges are looking for from the drivers for round 1.
The judging criteria for round 1 is simple. Stay online at full throttle for as long as possible, while creating as much angle as possible. For Manfield Raceway, we want to see drivers approach turn 1 in the inside lane, powering up to the initiation point and crossing the section entry point sideways. This is the start of Sector 1. From here, drivers need to take a typical racing line into the first apex, driving at full throttle with as much angle as possible. Style points will be awarded to smooth application of the throttle. The longer a driver is able to stay at full throttle with minimal correction, will be awarded the maximum amount of points for Sector 1. Cars will carry plenty of speed into the first inside clipping zone. This is where the front of the car needs to be as close as possible to the end of the inside curbing. From here, judges want to see a fast, aggressive switch, where the rear of the car also hits the clipping area. This is called the transition zone. After the first transition zone, drivers need to be back on throttle for Sector 2, full power through to a left-hand clipping point. Again, the front of the car needs to be as close as possible to this apex. Slicing through this section, the drivers will stay on throttle for as long as they can before the next clipping zone. Judges want to see a fast but smooth transition to align the car with the next apex. The front of the car needs to be as close as possible through as much of this inside clipping zone. Again, smooth application of the throttle will score higher style points. From here, cars will drift on into Sector 3. This is the key sector for Manfeild Raceway. The wide hairpin turn can be challenging with its banked cambered surface. Entering Sector 3, drivers will need to take a wide outside line to approach the left-hand apex. To do this, drivers need to carry plenty of car speed from Sector 2 and carry momentum through a wild and aggressive switch. Judges want to see a big entry into the sector over the small rise into Turn 5. Drivers need to power back in from this outside line, carrying as much angle as possible, bringing the front of the car in line with the last apex. This is a simple clipping point before the cars exit out wide onto the back straight. Judges want to see a smooth transition with smooth application of the throttle as the cars straighten out with a rolling burnout to finish. Taking a look at some of the key factors for Manfield, drivers must be drifting and producing angle through the start of the drift section. This will be appropriately marked at each side of the track. Drivers must gain points in all three sectors to produce a final score. Attempting to drift single sectors will result in a 0-point pass. Dropping one wheel off track during the pass will result in a points deduction. Dropping two wheels off track will result in a 0 score for that pass. Drivers who spin out or have a major straight line during their pass will also result in a 0 score. Corrections and minor straight lines will result in a points deduction in line with angle criteria. Drivers will be marked down for switching back or performing a mungie at the end of Sector 3. Judges want to see a smooth transition to a straight rolling burnout to finish the drift section. A deduction of 2 points in style will also be issued to cars entering Sector 1 with missing aero and bodywork. If aero is damaged, teams must make an attempt to repair, or they will receive the 2-point deduction in each or the following pass. There is 100 points on offer for each qualifying pass. Sector 3 holds the majority of points value for all three judges and will require drivers to line up the first two sectors to perform well. Sector 3 will be critical and will be the most crucial part of the competition. Teams and drivers need to put everything on the line to impress and bring home the gold.
Stay tuned, D1NZ's back after the break. Welcome back to the Demon Energy D1NZ National Drifting Championship. Round 1 Manfield, Manawatu, 6 rounds across New Zealand as the drivers gear in. Get used to those all new cars, Kenny. Some of them shone and some of them just wanted to get out on track and do some drift trains.
Yeah, that's right, Brendan. Let's catch up with some of the drivers.
So yeah, we're here at Manfield. It's one of our favourite tracks, obviously in the other car, but no, it's always fun to come down here and get back on this track. We don't get to do it much.
It's a real cool track, real fast, real flowy, and pretty cool section.
Yeah, Manfield's an awesome track. You know, it suits a lot of cars. There's no advantage for V8 or turbo. It's a good, nice flowing track, and when you do get it dialed in and you get heaps of angle, it pumps the smoke out, and it's a really enjoyable track to drive.
Well, we were able to just be on the gas so much, and with the NASCAR motor, it just screams, and you've really got to keep it up in the rev range.
160k entry, foot flat the whole thing. I mean, you only ever lift on the hairpin, and yeah, man, that's what I love. Just mashed it, limiter, full throttle, huge smoke, man, huge angle. The course is awesome. Yeah, man, crowd love it, we love it as drivers, and yeah, it's just an awesome track.
We haven't been here for 2 years. Really looking forward to it. It's one of my most favourite track out of all the tracks in New Zealand. As a driver, it's pushed me over the years to have a number of second place finishes, but never got to that top step on the podium. So yeah, bring on this weekend.
Yes, well, as drivers try to dial in their cars, Gaz White in the Burrow Tetaloi C33, it was all carnage, unfortunately, for the two Whangarei locals. Evasive manoeuvres there from Bruce Tannock and other drivers, and it was an unfortunate end to the Century Batteries Commodore. Not the way Fanger wanted to start. That would be on the trailer, which would mean only one thing. He had borrowed a car, and lucky Ben Jenkins came to the party, one of the Pro-Am drivers there in the Brian Roberts towing S13, under power, but Fanger Dan used to the S chassis. Be interesting to see how he plays out later on. But right now, let's go to our top 5 qualifiers. In 5th position, Drew Donovan in the Milwaukee S15.
Yes, it's almost like a home track for Drew Donovan. He's done plenty of track days here, of course, with grassroots drifting, and then heading on to Andrew Redwood, who took out 4th place in the Achilles Club Auto RX-7, just shy of the top 3.
Hi, I'm Danum Templeman, and this is my car Leroy. It's a Mazda RX-7 powered by a Toyota 2JZ.
And drama as well for the 3rd place qualifier.
Yeah, I thought I debeated a tyre going through the run and coming onto the front straight to go into the pits, and noticed one of my new wheels decided to part way and roll in front of me. Bit of a laugh for the spectators, but give the boys a bit of a fright, but oh well, it happens.
So Danum looking very strong there in the new sector-based qualifying format, Kenny, at Manfeild Raceway. 2JZ power, 3rd position.
Yes, we talk about the V8 invasion, but at Manfield Raceway, it was all about the turbocharged inline sixes, and they were really dominating out there on the track. And Dana Templeman didn't let that little wheel mishap affect his qualifying performance, and neither did a engine drama for Darren Kelly, who stepped into a borrowed car, the Gargan Kang Pro-Am Development Series car. Similar chassis and similar engine setup, absolutely right at home in this car, and he managed to qualify first equal.
Darren Kelly, Demon Energy National Drifting Championship, Round 1 Manfield, top 5 qualifier. You came P1, dead equal of Shane Giles. We went off the 2nd run, so you came in 2nd, but still dead equal. How's that feel coming into round 1?
That's pretty good considering my car's parked up and we had to borrow a car last minute. Couldn't really be any better.
Well, don't be scared in the battles to rub doors.
Yeah, never will be.
And the big surprise in qualifying at round 1 was Wellingtonian Shane Giles in the A1 Homes S14, the RB26 Godzilla power plant on board this S chassis, and he absolutely dominated the field, qualifying in P1 and making an absolute awesome start to his first ever Pro Championship campaign. All right, we're here with Shane Giles, pole position for the Demon Energy D1NZ Championship Series, the first round here at Manfield Raceway. Mate, that was an awesome first pass that you did. I mean, I think you really shocked the field.
Yeah, it was. I shocked myself. I was nervous, hands were shaking, but nah, it worked out well.
So not bad for your first qualifying session in the Pro class. You actually just beat a field of V8s pretty much.
Yeah, dirty V8s.
Right, before we can get to the Pro competition for round 1, it's the Pro-Am Top 4 brought to you by Cody's Bourbon and Cola. Adam Davies, Joel Patterson, Troy Jenkins and Chad McKenzie out on track right now. Now Chad McKenzie, a newcomer but a local to this track at Manfield. Troy Jenkins in the chase car, the S15, Brian Roberts towing S15 I should say, a seasoned veteran, but both having minor mistakes there. Troy Jenkins delivering the good lead run. Chad unfortunately pushing a bit too wide there coming through the midsection, and that gave Troy Jenkins the advantage.
Next battle up was, of course, Joel Patterson and Adam Davies, and the little AE86 was putting on a fantastic chase run. In fact, he was chasing hard all weekend, and Adam Davies also putting on a fantastic lead here, doing his best in the rotary-powered S14. Patterson marked down slightly there on the exit of Sector 3, but at the end of the day, it was Adam Davies taking victory into the final, which then put Patterson through to the battle for 3rd and 4th, and Chad McKenzie just could not fend off the little privateer AE86. Patterson doing everything he could to take that last spot on the podium.
And in the final battle, it was Adam Davies versus Troy Jenkins. Adam Davies on the lead here. The Mimico 180SX, it's powered by a 13B rotary engine, but Troy Jenkins chucked it away on the chase there. All Adam needed to do was finish the section. New rule applies this year. You have to finish the section if you're on the lead. However, he came over the last corner, pushed too wide. The judges saw it was 2 wheels off, which meant a 10-0, 10-0, Kenny.
Yes, that's right, Brennan. The battle was drawn 0-0, and this is where it all went wrong for Adam Davies right on the last part of the track, which means it was a clean slate for both drivers. The pressure was on. One final lap. Adam Davies and Troy Jenkins both committing to this first sector, but it all fell apart for the Mimico 180 SX. He just got it all wrong, crossed up, and Troy Jenkins drove away to victory on the TJ Motorsport S15.
So we're seeing a repeat from the last season with Troy Jenkins and the Brian Roberts towing S15. He started off really strong. He's done it again here at Manfield, and that put him on the top podium spot. Adam Davies followed by Joel Patterson. Champagne showers. The guys seem to love it as they come in. There's your Pro Championship points after round one for the Pro-Am. Watch them as we come through the 6-round series nationwide.
All right, coming up after the break, we meet the judges for the 2014-15 series.
Welcome back to D1NZ. Let's check out some historic footage from this year's judges, brought to you by D1NZ.
Matt Jackson is a new face to the judging panel for the 2014-15 season. Stepping into the role of style judge, the 30-year-old began his drifting career in 2005, becoming a D1 GP licence holder in 2007. After competing in Nissan C33 and Mazda FC RX-7 in the D1NZ series, Jackson then took up crewing for Mad Mike Motorsport. His favourite track is Manfeild Raceway and is looking forward to close battling and drivers pushing their own limits. D1NZ original Brendan Dunker returns as line judge for the new season. He began drifting in 2003. Piloting a rotary-powered AE86, the drift veteran has seen action in D1NZ and NZ Drift, and more recently enjoying race weekends as a hot lap driver for the D1NZ Drift View. His favourite track is Ruapuna Raceway in Christchurch, and is keen to see wall rides, solid and fair battles, and new stars coming through the ranks. Nick T-Boone finishes the lineup as angle judge for the 2014-15 season, another D1NZ veteran who also began drifting in 2003, becoming a series legend, finishing third in the 2007 championship after competing with just 95 kilowatts. His preferred drift car is the AE86, and his favourite track is North Course Ebisu in Japan. He wants to see aggressive but tidy driving this season, with close battles without hard contact.
It's a lot different to what we've ever had. It allows a little mistake in one part of your run and it doesn't completely stuff up your whole run.
They're very good because they've been able to give us specific points on how much they're going to give for this section, how much they're going to give for the next section. So it's been good to really get a bit more technical with the judges, and they're able to answer our questions.
It's better for us to to put the car in the right places, exactly where they want, and it can only make the sport better.
Well, after some intense qualifying and some track changes, there you have it, your top 32. Shane Giles gets the bye, so does Andrew Redwood and Drew Donovan. They're already into next week's show. And on the flip side, Darren Kelly, Matt Lauder, Damon Templeman and Cole Armstrong all get byes as well. So we won't see them this week, but you see the battles. That's the tree. That's how the top 32 plays out. We're straight into the action, Kenny.
Yes, and it was Joe Marshall leading out from Stephen Soul. Joe Marshall, the young gun to the series, graduating from the Pro-Am Development Series. And of course, Stephen Soul, one of those seasoned veterans, just hanging back off that bumper there, but he was offline, he was squirmy, he just didn't have a comfortable run at Manfield. And unfortunately for him, Joe Marshall would take the win.
Our next top 32 battle up would be the DK himself on the chase with the new V8 power plant. And on the lead there is another borrowed car. That is Adam Hedges, the Seas Garage driver, and Troy Jenkins, RB-powered S15. Beautiful run there and lead by Adam Hedges, and Kurt Whitaker just some slight corrections, one right there, which would mark him down and unfortunately push him out for the hopes of top 16.
Yes, that's right, Brendan. Of course, it was a round of borrowed cars, and that's Jordan Tweedy's Pro-Am Development Series car in the chase there, but it was Vincent Langhorne behind the wheel. Kyle Jackaway's taking an easy win, the Pro-Am Series champion spinning out in Sector 1.
And here's another borrowed car. Funny, the Pro-Am car's doing double duties this weekend. That is Fanger Dan out on the lead, chased by Sky Zhao in the 2 Degrees 350Z. Fanger in a seriously underpowered car to what he's used to, but as I said earlier on in the show, he is used to the SR chassis, but Sky Zhao there having some slight corrections, and now a big correction there. He dives Sky Zhao and actually makes contact by the look of it, Kenny.
Yeah, look, the judges and officials deemed that the contact caused Fanger to spin, which handed the win to Fanger. And as we take a look at the replay, it was a very close call here, and there could have been even bigger carnage, but Anyway, Sky Zell called 5 minutes. He had a mechanical drama and he found himself disqualified after using up all his 5 minutes, and Fangadan would go through.
So the next top 32 battle up was that of Tom Marshall out on the lead and Tauranga local Aidan Omner in the 2JZ powered Altezza in the chase. Tom Marshall been on form all weekend, doing really well at this Manfield flowing circuit. Aidan Omner unfortunately offline, the judges wanted to see there, so to be enough, even though he came right into the corner there, tried to catch up, made a little bit of contact, wasn't going to be enough. Tom Marshall would go through to top 16.
Just taking a look at the replay here in the Aiden's Tyres Altezza, just closing in too hard here, and a little bit of contact there, sending Marshall into a spin, and that was all she wrote for the Aiden's Tyres Altezza.
And another borrowed car is that of Adam Davies. Now Dave Stedman piloting the 180 SX out on the lead. Huge angle coming into that section. Mistake there from Joe Kukutai in the Rockstar R32. Now he had high hopes and expectations coming into this round. He's not scared to be bumper to bumper and door to door, but Dave Stedman, once again, a bit of a seasoned veteran, he would deliver enough with those slight corrections from Joe Kukutai. Dave Stedman through to top 16.
Next up, a battle of V8s, and out in the lead was Gaz Grove. Missed the Pro-Am Championship title by 0.5 of a point last year.
And in the chase there, Kenny, is the Bock Gases SP Tools high horsepower car of Shane Allen. What a chase it is too. Two very high horsepower V8 cars out on track at the moment. This is what you call the V8 invasion, as you always say, Kenny. But Shane Allen just pushed way too wide there. Just too much speed coming into the hairpin.
Just taking a look at the replay, and that's where it all went wrong for Shane Allen. Gaz Grove through to the top 16.
And an unfortunate end to the TBR GBI S15 of Nico Reed. Not the start they would want, and of course not the way Jody wants to get through to the top 16 either.
Yes, that's right, Brennan, and taking a bit of nostalgia here for Manfeild Raceway. Gaz wider behind the wheel of a C33, the old Drift Corp chassis, giving chase to the high horsepower RB30 of Bruce Tannock, the Achilles Radial S13. And unfortunately for Gaz Wider, he was battling electrical and mechanical dramas all day, which would hand the win to Bruce Tannock into the top 16.
Well, not the way that Gaz Wider, the Tectaloid driver, wanted to start his defending of the title, his 4-time New Zealand title, but he is out there to have some fun. On next week's show for Demon Energy D1NZ, it's the top 16. It's down to the business end. Make sure you check us out on D1NZ.com, and remember, Bay Park, Tauranga, it's only 2 weeks away. Mount Maunganui, be there.